Hello, everyone. We are live, or at least I am live. I will tell Alexis to come in if she can. I'm sure she's at the Cat 40. I hope that went really well. I hope everybody went there and had a good time outside of the game. But it is one game, and fortunately, their attention will turn back to the SEC. Let me send a link to Alexis so she has it directly in a link that I send her. Here it goes off to Alexis, and there it went. And see if she can make it. She sent me a photo of something. They're watching something. I don't know what they're watching. Looks like a good crowd there. Lex says, Pack, give me a minute. Not sure if I can. That's good news for me that she is in a packed restaurant. I know she's working because that's exactly what Tap 40 needs. Let's see. Everybody's rolling in. I got a kitty cat here that wants breakfast. Fourth breakfast. This is the hungriest little growing cat. Which one are you? Oh, this is Mox. Mox is a big boy. Oh, there went Mox. Let's see. Tony's here. He's hurt today. I understand it. Mark Gentry said outclassed. That's kind of harsh. Tennessee's tired. That's just my opinion. I know people are going to disagree. Nancy says, howdy. Creta says, howdy. Rachel Henderson is disgusted. Deb says, hi. Mary says, sad game, but we will recover. Jessica said, Lex probably doesn't want to talk about the game either. Always go Lady Vol. This was a tough one. It was. Did I expect Tennessee to have a better showing than that? Absolutely. I really did. The box score outside of Jordan Horston and a little bit of help from Ray Burrell, Tamari Key is pretty tough to read. And not indicative of how this team can play. I mean, Alexis Dye had 1 point. Jordan Walker didn't score. Tess Darby didn't score. Those are players that Tennessee's got. All three of those, Tennessee has to get something on the offensive scoreboard from them. I'm not saying they got to score 15, 20 points, but something. And I know those players feel as bad as anybody because that's not the showing that they want either. I would let me get this cat a snack so I can talk to y'all. Here's your snack. There you go. There's your little snack. All right, now we got the cat a snack. Julie said we're still out of sync, but something is wrong. It like I've said, and I have maintained all along that Tennessee was overachieving this season. Tennessee wasn't just blowing teams out. They were coming back against a lot of opponents. They are some of their parts, and they've hit a really tough stretch of the schedule. And that is what has happened. They put the last 10 games, 7 are on the road, right about the time class always is getting started. And that is a tough when a team relies on every one of its parts clicking, which they have in other games, when those parts start to slip, to miss a gear, this is what you get. And Tennessee can now Tennessee is finally home. They have 2 games at home, 2 on the road, and then 2 at home to finish the regular season. I think they've got some time to recalibrate, hit reset. Tony, somebody asked me this on YouTube too. Do we peak too soon? In my opinion, a peaking too soon doesn't happen. I think that's a sports term that's overused and is not really accurate. A team doesn't really peak too soon. Tennessee has just gotten away from being able to do what it needs to do. And I'm not going to blame this on the loss of Keon Green, but anyone who doesn't think that is a huge factor did not appreciate what Keon Green brought to this team. I don't think Tennessee has peaked at all. I think a season will wear you down. I think losing pieces of their team has hurt them, and I think that Tennessee is just not in gear. They're not clicking like they were, but they weren't like I said, they weren't blowing teams out to begin with. It's not like they had peaked and were just rolling through teams. They They are a sum of their parts, and those parts are the little pistons aren't all firing like they need to. Jessica said, I honestly think our inside game is really got to change how we play. Now TK has to worry more about fouls without Green. It also impacts Di and how she is used. I think we need to see more of Strickland to back up TK and bring a more physical game. It is. I mean, obviously, it's hard to make wholesale. It's hard to get players ready with 3 weeks left in the regular season, but I think Strickland has an opportunity to use practice to separate herself to grab some more minutes. That would be very good to see. It is hard for a freshman post. It is hard to know where to be on both ends of the floor. Watching today's game, I saw a lot of players out of position on defense, and that is a struggle for new players. That's not unusual to have, and Connecticut is a team that will take advantage of that big time, and they did. Debbie said, how is TK's ankle rehab? TK hadn't had any issues with her ankle that I know of. I mean, I know she had the ankle issue earlier, but that doesn't seem to be affecting her game. It looked to me like her finger got wrapped, and it looked to me like a whole nail broke off. I mean, I'm not talking about a fake nail. I'm talking about like a whole fingernail came off of TK. I can't be certain of that, but it appeared like she had a significant fingernail injury in this game, which does not help. So there's just a lot of this game that Tennessee can respond to, and it's also that time of year where everybody is tired, and I'm checking that Florida-Georgia game. Florida is a team that no one wants to see. That game is in Georgia too. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to turn and watch this a second with my cat in the way. Florida is up by 1. There's 1.7 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and Florida, I believe, let's see, has the ball. All they got to do is dribble it out. That's what they did, and that is the final. So congratulations to Florida. Florida is making a run to be one of the top 4 seeds in the SEC tournament, and I don't think anybody's preseason ballot had Florida doing that well. So congratulations to Florida. There's still a lot of games left to sort that out, but the battle for those top 4 seeds is going to be exactly that, a battle, an absolute battle. Mark said Strickland had good minutes with Wynn in the closing minutes of the game. She did, and you need to probably find some minutes for them with, if you can, with starters on the floor. At the end of the game, both teams have I mean, UConn had 3 starters in, but that's because they don't have much. They didn't have much, a lot of bench players available, but they also put 2 backups in. So it's I would like to see Strickland and Kaya get some more minutes. I also know how head coach is. Those minutes are going to get earned in practice. That's where you try out for game minutes. So I'm not saying that's where players earn game minutes. Every player, whether you're a starter or off the bench. So that's where you separate yourself. Alexis is somewhere doing something. Oh, we lost her. She walked away. Maybe she'll be back in a second. Like I said, I thought this game was a toss-up. I had expected Tennessee to play a closer game, but looking at that box score, you can't have those kind of 0 point. I mean, 1 point for Alexis. That is tough. Horton had 26. Ray Burrell had 11. I mean, just those are tough numbers to come back from on the road. Rebounds ended up being evened out at 38. Tennessee was trailing in those at half. Tennessee also, 15 to 14 turnovers. Some of those turnovers were highly questionable, to say the least, especially the charge call on Ray in the first half. May have been one of the worst calls I have seen this season. She went up, she gets hit. That's either a defensive foul or a no call. That's literally one of the worst calls I've seen in women's college basketball this season, was that charge on Ray. Either call a defensive foul or no call it. It's a missed shot and go down to the other end. But Alexis, are you with us now?
I can hear you. I am with you.
All
And I
right,
apologize for the noise. We had and they're still celebrating even though we didn't win. Just you know how Lady Vol fans get when we all get together.
no, I'm glad. That's a win for today that y'all had a good turnout at Tap 40 Grill. So I like that.
Absolutely.
I've already chatted quite a bit and tried to grab a bunch of questions. Now it's your turn. I want to hear your take on the game. And Florida just beat Georgia in Georgia. So congratulations to Florida. I want to add that.
Oh, that's awesome. My take on the game was I was very frustrated. I mean, I'm watching it. Suzanne Singleton, Pat Hatmaker, Debbie Jennings, we're all watching it. So, we take it personal what's happening on the court. Um, we just haven't been playing well on the road, but we really haven't been playing well our past, 4 games. Jordan Horston, I mean, she came out, she did as much as she could. She scored basically, half our points. Is that correct, Maria?
Yeah, she had 26. And what was the
Yeah.
final? 50. So almost. Tennessee scored 55, and she had 26 of them. So nearly half. 3 points
Yeah.
away from having half.
So she stepped up. She came to perform. Ray's been struggling since she's been back. And I think a little bit of that is just trying to come in and instantly be the player that you were pre-injury. And that's just not how that works. Uh, you kind of got to ease back into that and let the game come to you, which we briefly talked about on the last podcast. But I also need to see, like, we got to keep TK on the floor. We got to keep her out of foul trouble. We also need to get the ball inside a lot more and better post feeds. Alexis Dye, I was confused a little bit on the minutes of how she was played and used today. Uh, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of holes in our Tennessee team right now. And when I say that, I mean we were kind of rolling when Ray was out. Everybody understood the assignment that they had to step up. They had to fill the roles. You had to bring something to the table in order to get on the floor and stay on the floor. And now I think just knowing that Ray is back, they're trying to defer to her, and she's not quite ready to come back and just take over and dominate the game. Also, Maria, we don't have a floor leader. We do not have a floor leader.
No, and when Ken Green went down, I mean, I had some people say, Tennessee can recover from that. And I said, you don't understand Ken's role if you think Tennessee's just going to bounce back quickly from that. That was their voice. That was their heart and soul on the floor. And they have not bounced back from it yet. Do they have time? Yes. It is, right. I was saying before you got here, Alexis Dye had 1 point. Tess Darby had none. Jordan Walker had none. I know all three of those players feel terrible about it. Tennessee's not going to beat anybody with that kind of box score. I'm not saying they got to score 15 a game, but you got to get 6, 8. You got to get on the boards. I mean, Alexis Dye has struggled in this last stretch of games. She had one point and 1 rebound. That she's got to find her mojo back, the way she plays, which is aggressive, get to the glass. She seems to have hit like the proverbial wall right now, and she's got to find that back. I mean, Darby got some good looks; they just didn't go down. I don't know what the gym situation is like there. I've never seen so many airball threes by UConn or Tennessee. Those are not teams that airball threes.
It was quite a bit today. Yeah, that was very unusual. I don't know if that's nerves, excitement, legs. I don't know, but that was unusual on both sides. You're right about that.
Yeah, and I mean the officiating was deplorable. Not going to blame that on the loss at all, but that was a bizarre crew. I mean the travels they called on both teams. I mean just the calls inside. It just was it was a pitifully called game for one of the biggest games of the year. I would like to see a higher quality officiating in a game like this on both sides for both teams.
Yeah, but bottom line is it ain't the officials. They ain't really play a factor today.
No, I'm not saying
in
they
my
played
opinion,
a factor. No,
the bad calls are going to come on
it.
Every game, Maria. We know you've watched a lot of basketball, more than me. So they're not going to. The calls are going to be bad periodically throughout every single game. And if we played a lot better, I'd be able to stomach that a little more.
No, they were a non-factor. I'm not blaming them on anything. I'm just saying this game, Tennessee UConn, deserves your best crew. And
I can agree with that.
This was like a junior varsity crew. I want a better crew for this game.
Okay, I can 100% agree with that.
Yeah, no, Tennessee created it. I mean, Tennessee was 3 of 15 from the arc. Oh, we lost Alexis. Tennessee created its own issues. They were 3 of 15 from the arc, while UConn was 12 of 26. Glenda said you adjust to the refs. I mean, it's just when it's just poor officiating, it's just poor officiating. Again, I'm going to point out the refs had nothing to do with the outcome, the score, or anything. It's hard to adjust to poor officiating. Neither team really can. So then you just have to create your own break somehow. My only point, Alexis said her computer died, so her battery must have run out. My only point is that a game like this deserves one of the top crews in the game. They're all going to make mistakes. I'm not expecting officials to be perfect, but this game deserved a much better crew than it got. That is what I'm saying there. Tony said, so who could potentially be the floor leader? He wants to let Alexis, with her computer dead, I'm not sure she'll be back. What does that look like? Tony, a floor leader it's a voice. It's a calming voice. And Keegan was that either on the floor or from the bench during timeouts, in huddles. She was this team's calming voice to keep everybody's confidence up, to keep everybody together on the court. It looks like tight huddles. It looks like encouragement. It looks like getting on players when things aren't going well, holding yourself to high standards. And it is not an easy role to fill. You cannot force someone to become a vocal team leader if it's not in their DNA. And in Keegan, it was in her DNA. She's getting a PhD in leadership. And that has been a big loss for Tennessee. I think the biggest thing a leader does is handles a team when things aren't going well. It's easy to lead when you're up. When things are going well, a leader has to somehow get the team together when things are not going well. Jordan Horston is certainly a candidate for that. Right now, she's doing everything. So she needs help. I said that later this week. She needs help. Somebody has got to step up to help Jordan. I will say a Jordan's quote after the game. The reason I'm here a little bit earlier is that all of the post-game pressers are in person in Hartford, so there's not a Zoom one. So what I did was listen to the post-game radio show. And Jordan said, we are way better than how we played. She also said, I'm going to ride with them. She mentioned that she is with these 12 players, and we know what we have to fix. And, I mean, that's what you want. That's what you want is players to recognize what is going wrong and what needs to change. Beth said we have 2 games at home. Hope they can settle down and take a breath. Yeah, just to unpack right now and spend more than 2 nights in Knoxville will be a very good thing for Tennessee. And focus now. Now your attention turns to a strong finish in the SEC. You are fighting for one of those top 4 seeds. You have 2 games at home against Missouri, which is a formidable team, against Vanderbilt, which is playing better and will be seeking revenge. And then you go back on the road. Obviously, the big matchup will be at South Carolina, or at Alabama first, which will want revenge, and then at South Carolina. So, I mean, nothing gets easy in this league. Not a single thing gets easy in this league at all. Here's another little cat. It's not supposed to be eating kitten food, but wants kitten food. There you go. But you got to get out of the screen. There we go. There we go. You want a little kitten food too? Sorry, guys. When you have cats, you gotta handle the cats. So let's see other comments. I saw one by KC Burles in that third quarter killed us. It did. It was like Florida all over again. The only positive I can say is that Tennessee didn't quit. They came back and kept fighting. Brandon Hill said Florida upset Georgia this afternoon. They should be ranked next week. I agree. I remember some people were saying I can't take losing to an unranked team. And I said sometimes teams are unranked because the poll voters don't know what they're doing. Florida should have been ranked before they played Tennessee. Kathy said, I love the cats. Thank you, Kathy. They keep my sanity going. Mark said Andrea on SEC Network mentioned making offensive adjustments and running more set plays. I agree with that. During Kelly's Friday media availability, she said we have got to run the offense. Yes, Tennessee needed to attack the paint. That was their most effective offense today, particularly with Jordan Horston and Ray Burrell. But its shot selection left a lot to be desired in that first half. You need to play within the confines of what Tennessee is trying to do, because when a team is a sum of its parts, you need to know where the other parts are. Freelancing is not going to help Tennessee unless a play just breaks down. Also, over dribbling. Everybody knows I am a Tar Heel fan. Watching North Carolina Duke last night was painful for me. North Carolina dribbled and dribbled and dribbled and dribbled and turned over the ball. I get y'all's frustration because I was feeling it last night. Over dribbling never leads to anything good on the basketball court. It makes you easy to guard, and it usually results in one of two things: a bad shot or a turnover. Kimberly said, I think a lot of us trying to figure out how to play with Ray again after being out so long. They seem to have sort of made that adjustment in January. And I know, Kelly went back to Tess starting and then she said, I wanted Ray to be that pop off the bench. And I think that can be an effective move, because sometimes if you sit and watch for just a few minutes and Ray's going to get in fast, you get an idea of the flow of the game. The issue, of course, today was that Tess struggled from the arc, and that she can get that back. I will credit Tess for her textbook box out. Her box outs are textbook. And if there was one play that summarized this game, it was that first half possession by UConn, where I think they got 4, maybe 5 offensive rebounds and ended it with a 3. That cannot happen. That just cannot happen. That puts you on defense for a long time, and that gives the other team so much momentum. That is what Tennessee does to opponents. UConn did to Tennessee what Tennessee typically does to its opponents. So, but am I down on this team? Absolutely not. Do I think they can still reach all of their goals? Absolutely. I think they can. And I think they've got time. I'm very glad they're getting home. I mean, right now they can practice. I mean, and is fundamental as that sounds, that's a big deal. They didn't even get to practice for UConn. They did not have a full practice for UConn. All they did was a scouting report and, your walkthrough and your basic preparation on Saturday. You can't have a full practice the day before a noon game and get up and down the floor. I would like to make a plea right now to the SEC. Will you please quit scheduling Tennessee on a Monday game the same week they play UConn? And will you not send them halfway across the SEC for a road game the day before? Cut Tennessee a little slack next year. Give them a better schedule leading into this game. UConn had 5 days off this week. Tennessee had 1, essentially. And otherwise it was they had 3 games to play in a week. I'm not excusing that for the loss. Tennessee lost this game. Like the game at Florida, Tennessee got beat, period. Absolutely, period. But I need the SEC to schedule a little bit better. This is a big game. Schedule this a little bit better. Somebody mentioned my doggies. I want Bobby Bell. I won't quit on my team, but like everyone else, to include the team I'm just crushed. Hey Maria, let's see a dog for us dog lovers. They are asleep. They're good for them. They just went to bed. They're curled up in their bed in the living room, and they're just crashed. So Nancy said, well, hang in there with this team. I have things to fix, but Phil, they can. No, I agree. I think they can. Should you be frustrated with this week? Yeah, it's a tough week. Tough week for Tennessee fans. Yeah, Denise pointed out Butler couldn't get out of Indy. UConn was supposed to play Friday, but Butler couldn't leave Indiana because of the Midwestern snowstorm. So that it was not UConn's fault that they had all that extra rest. They probably would have preferred to have played, but if you got to play on a Friday night versus saving your legs, that can be a difference in terms of whether or not you've got your legs. Donna said, Fudd, AZ Fudd coming back killed us with the threes. Yeah, she was the number 1 recruit in high school for a reason. She was expected to have a huge role this season. She came back from an injury, and now she has hit her stride, and this game like this will do nothing but give her confidence. AZ Fudd's an outstanding player and an outstanding young lady. She regularly holds a camp in her hometown in DC to raise funds for the Pat Summitt Foundation. So shout out to AZ for her making a difference off the court as well. Karen Vogel pointed out we kept fighting this time. Yeah, Tennessee at Florida, there was nothing in the tank. This game they kept going. Which you don't want to exit this game feeling like, all right, we didn't even fight to the end. They did. And Denise pointed out they pounded Butler in the game earlier this season. Yeah, Tennessee was a big game for Connecticut because the Big East doesn't really present outside of DePaul. DePaul gave them quite the ride. The Big East doesn't really present teams with Notre Dame now in the ACC that can challenge UConn, and that's so this was a big game for them because Tennessee is one of the teams you want on your schedule, and it's another circled game for both teams. UConn is also getting some of its players back and getting healthy and trending in the right direction. Tennessee's just got to break this skid and get back to success in the SEC, which is what matters right now. That is where Tennessee is going to have its biggest impact on postseason is what do you do for the last 6 games and what do you do in the SEC tournament. So at any rate, it was a tough Sunday. I'm glad it came early. Glad nobody had to wait all day for this one, like these night games. So I am certainly glad that Tennessee will get home, will sleep in their own beds, will unpack, and will have a chance to get back into their groove, which I fully believe they can. I know y'all believe in them too. I don't at all fault you for your frustration. It was a frustrating week, and you should be disappointed. The team is too, and it's time to just regroup, get ready, because Missouri will be here Thursday, and that now you're back to the part of the schedule that really matters, your conference games. And then Vandy will be here on Sunday. That is also the Pink game, the breast cancer awareness game, raising funds for the Kay Yow Foundation, the Play for K. So I know Tennessee would really benefit from a good home crowd. Finally got a Sunday afternoon game. So I know a lot of y'all are far away, but those who aren't, see if you can get here, get behind the team, and help them out. The Mizzou game is 6:30, I believe. That's an relatively early evening game in Knoxville. So y'all have a good rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the SEC, Alabama and Vanderbilt going now. So enjoy the rest of the SEC games. And I will talk to all of you. Donna Harrison pointed out the Vandy games at noon. Yeah, it's another time to get up, get ready, and be ready to go. So be there early. For those that go to church, get yourself right with the Lord, and then get yourself over to the Sunday Church of Basketball on the Summit. So y'all have a good rest of your Sunday. I'm also glad it's a noon tip because I want to watch the Super Bowl. I love the Super Bowl, the commercials too. And I got to say, I'm riding with Cincinnati. I like Joe Burrow. I'm not really a Cincinnati fan. I mean, I have no reason. I'm not an anti-fan. I've just never been really a Bengals fan, but I really like Joe Burrow. So definitely want to see the Bengals play Sunday. Thanks, you guys, for coming. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for humoring me. Thanks for your opinions. And I will see you Thursday after the Missouri game. Hopefully, y'all are in a good mood and everybody's happy.